Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
LT, what's happening?
Can I say the intro, please? Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience. This is Luke Taylor before I was rudely interrupted by Samuel J. Davidson, the first, second, and 10th. I will tell you, I was really disappointed that we didn't do a podcast last week. It just made it hurt my heart.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we were on quite the roll, you know. I still don't think anyone's interviewed as many coaches as we have in the past 40 weeks or whatever it's been. I mean, it's we've gone across the country with these coaches, and yeah, I mean, the good thing is they're all still coaching. So it's
did anybody get fired that we talked to? No,
I don't think so. I mean, we had a couple coaches move around, you know. I think we're the good get promotion.
Yes, elevation
in their career. So maybe we are the lucky charm that people just need to talk to more.
And you also forgot two of the players we interviewed got drafted.
Yes.
We
two of the players and then multiple players we interviewed last year in summer league contracts. So
yeah, and also people that we interviewed during the Final Four first or second rounds got drafted, like Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd.
Yeah.
Calhoun left.
One of our biggest Instagram posts, it might be our biggest, was Zach Edey at the Final Four. He's a top 10 million. So it's I think we're doing something right, LT. I don't know. It feels good. It feels good.
Does it feel good?
Well, I mean, with the madness that's going on with college basketball, like it's it does. I enjoy getting some of these coaches on here, getting them because they come on and they're just like, hey, this is supposed to be a vacation the last month. And I mean, even our next guest, he was like, yeah, we've been going a million miles an hour, you know, since
and he hasn't played much golf either.
No, he could still beat you though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Hey, what do you think? Because we didn't have a podcast last week, which is okay. Well, we've had 2 and 3 in a week, so we're okay. We're averaging 1 a week. What do you think about expanding the field? I mean, the field of 68 would have to be called something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of my control, so I really don't think too much of it. I don't mind expanding it, like 4 or 6 teams or whatever they're talking about now. I think doubling the field is too much, and
well, you're not going to double it to 136.
There was rumors that they were going to be doubling it to like 128 at one point, so you just have an extra round. So it's I mean, you can think about it any way you want. I mean, I think what's happened is these tournaments that are not part of the NCAA tournament, like the NIT, for example, has just lost its luster, right? I mean, you used to be able to teams that were on the bubble, didn't make the NCAA tournament. They were actually excited to go play the NIT and prove themselves, And I think that kind of luster is dead now. I'll put it that way,
Well, I think the only way you expand it in my mind is if you allow more teams, not the Power Fives like the USFs, the Indiana States, even the Big East. Yeah, that's Power Five, but the Big East only got 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. So I think if you're going to, what I would like to see is every conference within reason, and this includes the Power Five, then like the American, the Mountain West, the Atlantic 10, and a few others get 2 bids. Regular season champ gets a bid, tournament champ gets a bid. So that way USF is in, which they're well deserving to be in there. The Atlantic 10 might have had 3 bids instead of 2. And I think that's the way you do it. So it goes from 68 to 76. I think 76, and that way you have another Dayton site. So maybe you do Dayton and like Greensboro, North Carolina, or wherever it is, and you have 8 teams. I think that's pretty fun. I watch it. I watch the 4 games. We've talked about like at least me going to it because it's in Dayton, 3 hours away, but it's just hard with going to the first and second rounds. But I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's
going to happen. It's going to happen.
For sure going to happen because there's a money play to it, and the NCAA is a business at the end of the day. I've just never really got behind that first 4 tournament, in Dayton. Like, it just seems like, I don't know. Like, I remember, it's like the first game of the NCAA tournament. It's, like it's that first round, and that's where you start to see you want upsets on the first day. You don't really get upsets in that first 4, because anybody can kind of win those 2 games. So,
do you think anyone in the NCAA listens to Cream by Wu-Tang Clan?
Probably.
Cash ruins everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah. That's what it's come down to. And, it's, I'm happy players are getting a piece of that now. I know there's some mixed feelings about that. But it is a business. Players are getting more, coaches are getting more, coaches are getting a shorter time period to prove themselves because of that. Right.
And who's getting screwed? The fans, because now they're going to pay, instead of paying $30 to go to game, they're going to pay $90.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And it's hard we've talked on our podcast before. It's hard as a college basketball fan, if you're loyal to certain schools, it's hard to get to know some of these teams and the players, because you used to be able to be like, oh yeah, this player's going to be here for 3 years, 4 years, whatever it might be, And now you're like, oh, if they have a good year, there's a good chance that they're not here next year. Or, if they have a mediocre year, they're going to go somewhere where they can get more playing minutes, right?
Yeah, they're going to be, the average player is going to be at each program 3 to 4 minutes.
It's wild, there is a new coaching strategy on how to build from the transfer portal. And I think you're going to see some really unique strategies on how coaches are doing that. Especially at the mid-major level, because I do think that's where it's the hardest, right? Yeah. You develop a good player, there's a good chance he gets picked by a power school, So it's like, how do you
talk to Coach Amir about that one?
It's crazy. By the way, I love that the podcast that you and Coach Amir did. I'm sorry I missed that one.
No, we're happy you weren't there. We had a really good time without you.
No, you guys did have a good time, man. It was a good episode. It was fun to listen from the sidelines, and we need to do another one with Coach Amir where I'm there, so I can blast on you a little bit, and he can participate in that. So
but it's all good. So you talk about the transfer portal and the uniqueness behind it. This program that we're going to talk about next is Youngstown State. We had Coach Calhoun, who went to Utah State. Coach Faulkner, Ethan Faulkner, went from associate head coach to head coach, and really impressive. He really has, I think, just from kind of looking at the Horizon League, and they had a lot of shakeup in the Horizon League, a lot of new coaches, a lot of players left. Noah Reynolds left Green Bay. Coach Wicks left Green Bay. They got Doug Gottlieb at Green Bay now. Oakland lost Trey Townsend, who I think is going to have a huge year at Arizona. Hopefully get him on the podcast because he's a really good kid, and his dad too. But then you look at Detroit Mercy. They fired their coach, Coach Davis. They had a really tough year last year. And then you look at Wright State. Coach Nagy left to go to Southern Illinois, which I think is a really good fit for him. Youngstown State left the coach. So really, it's going to be interesting. But what he did in the transfer portal, and then also retaining some really good players like EJ Farmer,
Gabe Dines.
Christian Kirtland, and then brought in some guys. Like, he brought in guys that were averaging 12, 13 points a game in Division I, whether it was Canisius, Sacred Heart, and the guy I really like is Jason Nelson, who is a 5'10" junior guard, was at VCU. Freshman year was at Richmond. Last year he averaged 11 points a game. He averaged a little bit more than that, but he had 11 against Memphis and Dayton and 13 against SLU. So he's used to playing good competition and showing up. So I think the Penguins are going to be flying. this year.
Flapping. I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, Coach Ethan Faulkner, who we're all going to hear from in a second here. I mean, he's bringing 9 new players in. I mean, that's just kind of the norm now, right? And I mean, you mentioned some players that you're excited about. I'm super excited about Ty Harper. I mean, he was a top 100 recruit coming out of college. I don't think he found his fit his first 2 years playing D1 ball, and then took over NAIA last year. I mean, averaging more than 20 points per game. And I think this is a really good fit for Ty Harper. I think I hope he earns the chance to get some good playing minutes, because I think he could be a surprise in the Horizon League this year.
Yep. So, all right, well, let's go into the interview. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. We haven't had one in a while, and we'd really appreciate it. Make us warm and fuzzy. But another good one, my friend.
Show LT some love.
Yes. Do it for me.
Even if you say you don't like Sammy D, just give LT a 5-star.
Well, we already had one that said the host has a lot of good energy.
LT sleeps better at night when we get 5-star reviews. So.
Yeah, that's true. So, all right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the episode with Coach Ethan Faulkner of the Youngstown State Penguins. And we still don't know why they named them the Penguins, but Sam gave us some great education, aka now simply known as the Professor, for 1 minute.
Professor, I love it. Let's get it, LT.
All right, Sammy, we got a good one. We got a really good one. We have the new head men's basketball coach of Y-State, Youngstown State, the Penguins. Ethan Faulkner, welcome to the Full Court Press podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. Excited to talk.
Yeah. Well, okay. So first thing, I don't know, Sam, should I go there or should I go here? How should I start?
Go there. Okay. Go there.
So, Coach, I don't know
what there or here is, so just go there.
Makes Sam nervous, Coach, but
it does
Coach,
make you nervous.
I guess where I want to start is this. So you used to be the defensive coordinator for the basketball team. How would you say your defense was?
Well, I would say that we made progress. How about that? We have since Coach Calhoun was here, we've always been a very, very good offensive team. Our defense has slowly but surely made progress. But I always tell Coach Calhoun he was an offensive-minded guy. I didn't get enough time in practice to work on our defense.
Yeah, because I asked Coach Calhoun. I texted him last time, like, "Hey, Coach, we got your guy on tomorrow." I'm like, "Give me something." He's like, "Ask him about when he was the defensive coordinator in his defense." Coach took all the time, so you didn't really get to work on what you needed to work on.
I'm gonna tell you, call him back and ask him about those practice plans, what those look like.
Just all offense.
I might just when Sam asks a question, I might just text him. But thanks for joining us. I'm really excited. I live in Northeast Ohio, as you know, and I came out to a couple games last year. And you guys finished 22-10, second in the Horizon League. The Horizon League was kind of like you thought one team was going to take it all, but it was kind of a shit show. Like a lot of conferences, anybody could have won. I really like that you brought back EJ Farmer and you brought back the big guy. Which is nice, Gabe Dines. Tell me a little bit about the team. What are you expecting now that you're kind of running the show? And are you spending more time on defense too in practice?
Well, I'll start with our returners. Obviously, the 3 guys that played meaningful minutes for us last year, Gabe Dines, EJ Farmer, Iman Zorgval, all really, really excited to have those guys back. We've got 3 other guys returning that not many people know about. Christian Kirkland, who was a redshirt for us, Dante DePante, redshirted, and then David Wilkerson, who sustained a season-ending injury in our scrimmages last year.
Whoa, Coach, sorry to cut you off, but just wait. Did you say redshirt? People actually redshirt still in the transfer portal era?
We had 2 red shirts last year that we're excited about. Christian and Dante are both going to carve out a role for us at some level this year on our team. But obviously bringing Gabe back and EJ and Iman were critical. Gabe, just total difference maker at our level with his size and his skill. EJ certainly going to take on a bigger role for us. Kind of that 6th, 7th man for us last year. He'll compete for a starting spot. And then Iman is a kid that's just super, super talented. Just needs game reps, right? He's been in college now for 3 years and kind of always played that backup role. But we're expecting him to play a major role for us this year.
Nice.
All right, so I look at your roster and you've got 9 new players. Has that all been pretty active since that April 1st kind of upgrade to your position in there? I mean, you've been pretty busy out there, and it looks like you were going after guys who got some experience on the court last year.
Man, we were running 100 miles an hour trying to get that roster filled up like everybody else in the country was. And the interesting thing about the transfer portal is, it basically opens right after your season is done, right? You've got maybe a 6 or 7 day window if you're not playing in the NCAA tournament to get ready for that, and certainly extremely busy and urgent time of the year for our program. But we've kind of done it through every level of college basketball, and even added a couple high school guys. So if you look at the breakdown of our 9 new guys, 2 high school players, 3 Division I players, 1 NAIA player, 1 Division II player, and 2 junior college players. So kind of attacked it through all levels. And I think what we really tried to emphasize in terms of our roster was not just acquiring talent, but really trying to build a team and make sure that the parts are fitting well together.
Yeah. And go ahead, Sam.
Are any of the new guys on the team, is there anybody who you felt like you really got lucky or fortunate? Like, these guys.
Jason Nelson, ball player.
Yeah, VCU guy right there, and so talk a little bit about what that kind of recruitment process is in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think I think we've learned, right? We've been going through this transfer portal thing for a couple of years now, and I think when you're adding 9 or 10 new guys, all those guys are transferring here for some reason, right? Bigger role. More minutes, more whatever the case may be. And I think that's what we've tried to be very cognizant of is trying to make sure that we're getting a group that can have great chemistry and have great culture as well. But, if you look at the 3 Division I guys that we've taken, all very, very proven players at our level. When you look at Nico, look at Jason, look at Seam, all 3 of those guys are very, very proven players at our level. Jason, Atlantic 10 Freshman of the Year. Nico, multiple-time All-League player. Seam, a guy that's been very, very productive. But I think all 9 of our new guys are certainly going to have contributions and make an impact on our team.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you guys.
Yeah, I followed Ty Harper's kind of career, and I hope he gets some. I hope he earns the minutes with you guys, because I think he's just been kind of waiting for that D1 opportunity to get out there. He's top 100 recruit coming out of high school. Kind of floated around and was averaging 20 points per game last year in NAIA. So
yeah, Ty's the guy that, I don't know if you guys know my full background, but I spent 4 years as an NAIA assistant, worked for a legendary small college basketball coach in Don Butcher, and worked for a guy named Jared O'Neill at Mount Vernon Nazarene, who I think is one of the best small college coaches in the country right now. So I'm very familiar with that level. We brought a kid here from my previous stop, University of the Cumberlands, a few years ago, named Tevin Ollison, who was very, very similar to Ty, came here and was a very, very good player. I have been really, really optimistic through our first 3 weeks of the summer and what Ty can give us. Obviously knew he could really score the ball, really athletic, but man, his level of competitiveness and his ability to pick up on new concepts is pretty remarkable. So we expect big things out of him.
Yeah.
Nice. And it looks like you're going to have a pretty mature team. I mean, it's like 4 of those guys are 5th-year seniors. Was that part of the plan, as you kind of continue to build like a 20-win season and compete for conference titles?
Yeah, it's kind of been the recipe here, right, is to get old and stay old. And, what I love about those 5th-year guys or guys that are entering their last year, there's an urgency about them, right? Their career is winding down, and I just feel like those guys work at a little bit different level as they get to that age and understand this is the last go around.
Yeah, and you have to, when you're 26, married with 2 kids in your 17th year of eligibility. But so let me ask you something. So you go from being assistant coach to the associate head coach. Mm-hmm. When you become the associate coach, is it kind of a given that you're going to get that job when the head coach leaves? Like, how does that kind of work? And then also, what were the conversations like with Coach Calhoun, who I'm disappointed still is not a Cavs fan first and foremost, but I'll let it slide again because the Celtics won the national championship.
Well, you always hope that's the case, right? That as we continue to win and have success, that everybody will be rewarded for that. But as we all know, man, these jobs are extremely hard to get. I feel super fortunate and blessed to be in a position to be able to be a Division I head coach at 34 years old, and give so much of that credit to Coach Calhoun and what we were able to build here, but also just him really going to bat for me to be able to get this job. And I tell everybody the most rewarding thing for me about getting the job was we had 6 players that had returning eligibility that had not entered the transfer portal prior to the coaching change. And Ron Stroller walked into that room, and when he came out, he said the job was mine because of the guys in that room. And I was super just felt blessed, man, that those guys had my back and wanted to come back and play for me. And that was certainly the most rewarding thing. And I think that's what we try to do here, right? Is really build relationships with our players.
Yeah. So what do you think with all the changes in the Horizon League? I mean, you got the Juice Man cometh, left Green Bay to go to Wyoming. They hired a podcaster, so there's hope for Sam and I to coach again. Obviously, Doug Gottlieb's got a little bit better basketball resume than both of us put together. Oakland has Coach Campy. He's never leaving. Great guy, but they lost, Golke, obviously. Trey Townsend, who we're big fans of, went to Arizona. Wright State lost Coach Nagy to Southern Illinois. Obviously you guys, lost your head coach, but it seems like it's going to still keep going with you as the kind of head. What do you kind of see in the Horizon League this year?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of turnover. It'll be interesting, but as I look and study what other teams have done in the offseason, I think, really good players have been added to our league. Really good coaches have been added to our league. If you look at what was done last year, one of the best seasons in league history in terms of our net and KenPom. I shouldn't say league history, but in the last 10 years in recent history would be a better way to say that. But, I would anticipate the league's going to be really good again. It's going to be very competitive, always very good players, good coaches in our league. But it'll be interesting to see how some of the programs change or adapt with a lot of new head coaches in the league as well.
Yeah, stop picking on Detroit Mercy.
Yeah, talking about coaches, you were, out of everyone who kind of got a head coaching position, a new head coaching position, you stayed at the same school, obviously, but you put together your coaching staff super quick. Like what was that like with Dwayne, Danny, Anthony, Mark, and then bringing Rocco and your brother, as well, what was it like putting that together so quickly?
Yeah, I think it's something that you always have in the back of your mind, right, as you're preparing to hopefully one day be a head coach who you want to surround yourself with. And I thought it was super important to add some guys with some head coaching experience to maybe navigate some of the waters that, I haven't been in. I've got so much respect for Coach Osborne and Coach Richmond, guys that I've known for forever. And I think the biggest thing about us is we're going to have great chemistry. And we complement one another in terms of our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. Have you ever coached with your brother before?
No.
How's that going to go?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Is it going to be like the Hurleys? Because that'd be awesome. I'll come to every game if it's like the Hurleys.
Yeah, Ev's going to be a integral part of our athletic department, and just excited to get to spend more time around him.
Yeah. So I looked at, I did a little bit of research, obviously knew about your background, looked at Evan's background as well, like at UPike and everything like that. It seems like basketball is just kind of like in your family DNA growing up in Kentucky and everything. Like, has it always been kind of like a career goal as you transitioned from Northern Kentucky, and graduated and then kind of entered the coaching ranks? Like, what's that process been like? And are you at where you want to be right now?
Yeah, I'm not very good at many things, right? And basketball, I feel like, has always been my passion and something that, that I've wanted to stay a part of. I had a unique playing experience, was fortunate enough to really have an awesome high school and college experience as a player. And then Coach Beazle, my college coach, he hired me basically the day I graduated and started my career there, learned a lot from him. And, I kind of had an interesting path from there. It bounced around at some lower levels. And then, with Jared, giving me the opportunity to come back to the Division I level and kind of, been here ever since. But I think I'm still certainly growing and trying to get better. And that's why I think, the people that I've surrounded myself with is going to be so important for us, not just for me, but for our program.
Mm-hmm. So when you joined Youngstown State in 2019 as an assistant, like you guys are on a hot streak, 5 straight winning seasons, 2 consecutive 20-win seasons. Like, what's the scene there? Like, what's the vibe going around with like alumni, boosters, students? I mean, it seems like you guys are on the uptick still.
Yeah. We've never had more momentum. We feel really good about where we're at. Feel like our foundation is in a place where we can consistently compete for championships inside our league. And, we have a unique fan base at our level. You come to Youngstown in January and February and you're playing in front of 3,000-4,000 fans every night. Certainly their financial contributions to our fundraising and to our NIL stuff has been very, very beneficial to us. And again, I tell everybody, man, in Youngstown, the experience that you're going to get here because of the support that we have, not just from our athletic department, but from our fan base, going to be much, much closer to a high major experience than it is a mid-major experience.
Yeah. And I would agree, living in Akron, Ohio, I've got some buddies that were former Youngstown State athletes and just a lot of pride. I mean, obviously that kind of catapulted when Youngstown State was a powerhouse in Division I AA football with Jim Tressel, who's obviously well connected with it and stuff like that. So you grew up in Kentucky, you stated. You were a 2-year captain at NKU, the Norsemen, 10th in career assists, 11th in free throw percentage. Those will never be broken due to the transfer portal and NIL. I think Faulkner you could have been a little bit higher, but that's okay. So let me ask you something, blue or red?
Well, I would say that I grew up a Kentucky fan.
Okay.
So blue.
Okay. So what do you think about?
That's what you're asking me, blue or red in terms of.
I mean, it's like if you're in Michigan, blue or green.
We stay out of politics on this show. So
no, we don't. I'm Canadian. I like to stir the pot. So let me ask you something. What do you think about Louisville and Kentucky now with their new coaches and stuff like that? You obviously know them both.
Sure. Obviously, I think probably 2 great hires, right? Coach, what both of those guys have done, their track record speaks for itself. You look at what Coach Kelsey's doing right now in recruiting. Man, he's had to totally transform that roster, and I think 13 or 14 new players. Coach Pope obviously going to be a much different system than what Kentucky fans are used to seeing with Coach Cal in terms of his style of play. But both programs are in great hands too. Obviously, very, very good coaches who are, now going to see if they can take those programs to another level as well.
Okay, so what I'm really asking is, who's crazier, Kentucky fans or Louisville fans?
Oh, Kentucky fans for sure.
We've experienced that. It's all
there's no doubt that
they're in a league of their own.
It's the only program in the country that you can go to the Final Four and their fan base not be happy.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I just put something on Instagram. Kentucky has the best winning percentage in the last 10 years in the SEC. And I was actually at the Oakland, Kentucky game and got to know Coach Campy and Trey, and actually Trey's dad, Skip, and even Kentucky. What people don't see is John Calipari is a really gracious dude. He actually came in the tunnel and, shook Campy's hands and gave him a hug and, was really gracious. And a lot of people don't see that. And it's, I think the problem is Kentucky's like the Yankees or the Cowboys. Like, if you don't win, you could be 19-1. You're garbage.
Sure. Yeah. It's that's the blessing and the curse with that place, right? I mean, you've got the best fan base in the country, but it's sometimes probably a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah. Just ask Billy Gillespie.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, we talked about the success you guys have had the past couple seasons, and then you're kind of focused on staying old and everything like that with your roster. Like the success you've had with some recent players like Ziggy and Brandon, who now got contracts.
DJ Burns, baby. DJ Burns.
DJ Burns, they're all playing professional at some level, right now. Does that help in the recruiting process with like the player development and the aspect that you've played in those players' roles?
Yeah, I think certainly, that's 2 things that are, we talk a lot with our recruits about, because, all these guys have aspirations to do what they're doing. We talk to them about, yes, certainly we can help you get there, but I think, once you get to that point in your career, those guys, man, they're great resources for you. You can pick up the phone and call them. Hey, what's this country like? What's this agent like? Is this a good situation? And they're going to be able to communicate that to them. But, we're going to have 14 guys in the last 7 years playing overseas after our guys from this year's roster makes their final decisions on where they're going. One guy, Kendrick Perry, is just killing it. He was just MVP of the Pro A League in Spain, took Malaga to the championship for the first time in that place's history. So we've got some really, really cool stories going on. All of our guys are having tons and tons of success that are playing in Europe.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. So why is Youngstown State called the Penguins? I mean, let's be honest. Penguins are such a fun, loving bird. I love looking at them at the Akron Zoo, and they smell like crap, but they're really a fun bird. Why Youngstown State Penguins?
I'm going to assume because it's so cold in Youngstown in the winter, but that would be my best guess. I couldn't give you any more information than that.
Yeah. So I looked this up earlier, and they actually don't know. It's possible. It's on Youngstown State's website. Like there's two different accounts. One of them was the basketball team took the floor like in 1933, and it was really cold out, and somebody yelled out, "You guys look like a bunch of penguins out there." Right. That's the first account. And then a second one was the team was driving the bus, and they were talking about nicknames before they had a nickname. And Penguins was thrown out because it was snowy out there and cold and everything like that. So I actually looked that up, LT. I know you'd be proud of me doing my research.
Either one sounds accurate to me.
It is. So who wins in a fight, Victor E. Viking or Pete the Penguin?
Wow. Well, got to go with my man, Pete the Penguin.
All right.
Wow. That's pretty deep. So let's talk about your scheduling. Now that your recruiting class is done, are you finished scheduling? Because I feel like some of these coaches, a lot of these coaches we've had on the podcast the last couple of months, they're like, yeah, we're still not done with scheduling. Is scheduling can it kind of be a year by year basis just on who you're going to be bringing in, or are you going to be doing some kind of like different series with different programs?
I think scheduling's changed a lot, first and foremost, with the transfer portal. I think most teams, in November and December aren't even wanting to talk scheduling anymore, where in years past, that's where you were doing the bulk of it for the next year because nobody knows what anybody's going to have on their roster. And then as the season gets over, obviously recruiting trumps it. And you're working 6, 8, 9, 10 weeks to try to get your roster filled. And then at this point now you're trying to get your schedule done. So we've got, 6 contracted games, 2 games where we've got actually 4 games where we've got verbal agreements, just working through some contract things there. So we've got 10 of our 11 non-league games scheduled as long as nothing falls through with the verbal agreement. So we've still got 1 game left to get.
Wow. Sam, any coach looking for games? I think there's a Coach Calhoun in Utah State looking for games.
I think they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Logan, Utah is beautiful in February.
But no, our schedule, it's certainly going to be difficult. A lot of road games in the non-league. So our league has, we have scheduling requirements that we have to meet, have to play at least 4 quad 1, quad 2 games, which is challenging for teams like us to get because of the success that we've had. So we've got to play 4 of those, can only play 2 non-division ones. So there's some scheduling requirements, and again, all that is, in the hope that the team that gets to the NCAA tournament can improve their seed line. And if you look at what Oakland did this year, winning a game at Xavier, not losing any quad 4 games, they were 14-0 in quad 4 games, won a quad 1 and a quad 2 game actually against us. Certainly helped them move up the seed line, and if you look, gave them a chance to win a game.
Yeah, that's interesting that you're seeing more conferences kind of like, I know the Max had a really tough problem with scheduling because there's no kind of protocols like you guys have. So it really forces you to play a more competitive schedule, which is great for recruiting because, kids want to play certain names on the shirt and stuff like that. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
What do you think, LT? Are we ready?
Let's do it. Yeah,
let's fire it off. Yeah, so Coach, we have a little thing called the shot clock. LT is going to fire off 5-6 questions. Really fun questions, super easy. Feel free to give us one answer, one sentence. If you got a story to tell in there, just let it rip.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's that easy, Sam. You're making it sound like it's like multiple choice at NKU.
Pretty easy. I mean, it's Some coaches get stumped on one or two questions, but it's all good.
Okay, so this is in honor of my guy Sam Davidson. Coach, what is your spirit animal?
Oh wow. I don't know if I've ever thought of it. I thought this was going to be easy. Now you stumped me on the first one. I have no idea.
What would you want to be?
Let's say a lion. How about that?
There we go.
Okay, that's good. A lion. Rawr. If the school changed their name, what would they change it to? He's hanging up pretty soon. He's hanging up, Sam. He's not coming back ever again.
How about the polar bears?
There we go. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Toughest recruiting battle?
Oh, man. In terms of team or individual player?
Both.
Obviously, we get into a lot of recruiting battles with the MAC. So those teams are sometimes hard to beat. MAC, Atlantic 10, always challenging to beat. I would have to spend some time thinking about it. In terms of individual players, man, we've been in some good ones. Last couple of years, we've been in some good ones in the transfer portal. But I would say this year, probably our toughest one was probably Seam. He had tons of interest, and his kind of played out longer than everybody else's. So I had to certainly spend a lot more time with him.
Yeah. Okay.
Europeans.
Yeah. Well, you also averaged 13.3 at Canisius. So
Yep.
I mean, he's obviously and you got a lot of guys like Nico averaged 13.5 at Sacred Heart. The list goes on. All right. Favorite school you played against? You personally as a player in your 4 years at NKU?
Like favorite arena?
Both. Favorite school, like favorite arena.
I would say, I don't know if it's my favorite school, but our biggest rival when I was at NKU was Bellarmine. And they had some really, really good teams. Won a national championship one year. I think was in the Final Four. I think Coach Davenport, one of the best coaches in the country. We did not have a ton of success against him, so I don't know if that's my favorite school, but I always enjoyed the competition with those guys.
Yeah. What was the favorite arena you played in? Not a home arena, obviously.
Trying to think of the games we played my senior year. Probably Ohio State. That was a big one we played my senior year. So I don't know if you guys know, for 3 years when I was at NKU, we were Division II.
Right.
And then my senior year, we made the jump to Division I. And, I always say, man, I think we would have won the Division II national championship had we stayed one more year and finished our career there. But, had some success. We were 500 in the league as our first year Division I. So had some success there too, and some neat experiences.
Wow. That's cool. What is one arena you've always wanted to coach in that you haven't?
Let's say Rupp Arena.
Okay. That was see, there's one easy question we've asked him. All right. 2 more questions. One talent people don't know about you. One talent you have that people don't know about you.
Well, other than being around our guys and coaching, my favorite thing to do is play golf. And I'm about a 0 handicap in golf.
Oh, maybe you need to spend more time coaching instead of playing golf. We won't tell Coach that.
Or maybe if I could play a little bit more, I could change careers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that area has some good golf courses, man. Youngstown, Pittsburgh, you got some great courses out there. The last question, this one might be a little bit tough, but I'll be curious to see where you go. Song that best describes you.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a country music fan. I grew up in rural Eastern Kentucky, so it would certainly be some type of country song. I don't know. You could probably name a bunch of different ones. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head.
So if they were gonna announce you as first year head coach next year, you walk on to the home court and you're like, I got to pick my song.
Let's go this way. So where I grew up, country music legend from there, Keith Whitley. He sang a song called Kentucky Bluebird. Let's just say that one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Coach, you've won nothing. You got nothing. You'll probably walk away from me when you see me in person in a couple of months during a basketball game, but thank you for answering those questions.
Really appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for inviting me to come on, and enjoyed spending some time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Sam,
cool.
you ask the last question here, and we'll finish.
Yeah,
it.
no, we just kind of turned it over to you the last minute, Coach. Anything you want to share to the kind of Penguin faithful, alumni boosters, student section? Anything they should be looking out for next season? Games circled on your calendar you need everybody to show up at. Just turn it over to you here.
Yeah, no, I've told you guys, man, we got a unique fan base. So I probably couldn't tell you guys anything on here that they don't already know. They're at a lot of our workouts. We spend a lot of time in the community with them, but I know they're as excited as I am about our team. Like I say, most of them have already been in and seen them and watched them, but got a good thing going, man. We're excited about where we're at. I think we got a chance to take this thing to another level as we continue to make progress and steps in our program. But super excited to be the head coach and see where we can take this thing.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Catch us next week on the Full Court Press podcast, and check out the Youngstown State Penguins as they go for Horizon League glory this year.